All right. So I love tonight's topic because number one, it was brought up by um, a girl on this team, and others chimed in, and um, we're good. Others chimed in and said me too in this conversation that I was having with a couple girls. So I'm like, you know what? I have a lot to say on this topic, and it's enough to make a live video kind of long, and I definitely could not have typed it up in a post on the team page. So tonight we are talking about the fear of inviting, um, the um, just all of the things around it, and we're also going to talk about the reasons why you may be scared to and ways to overcome it. We're going to give you tangible scripts and ideas so that you can actually take action even tonight and get over that fear. So it's going to be really, really good. So I hope you have some paper. I hope you just allow yourself to maybe get a little bit deep tonight and to just kind of unpack this, because this is it's a head thing and everybody is different. So I'm hopefully going to hit on all of the different ways that this might be scary for some of you. Okay, so why is it scary to invite people? I'm going to start with this one. I have four. Number one, you might be afraid of inviting people to accountability groups or to be a coach on your team because you identify with the used car salesman or the door-to-door vacuum person. Anyone in that boat? A little bit? You're scared that you're going to be the used car sales guy and be too pushy and be weird and make people feel awkward and uncomfortable. Yeah, that was me for a very, very long time, like longer than I really like to admit. But I didn't know that I was feeling that way until I read Jen Sincero's Green Book, You Are a Badass at Making Money. So if you struggle with this idea even a little bit, I cannot recommend that book enough. I have read it twice and I got so many amazing things from it both times. Totally different things and realizations. So if you haven't read that book, it's at Target. It's like 12 bucks. Highly recommend it. So if you struggle with that, my big question would be to dig into the why. What in your life has made you feel like asking somebody to join something or buy something makes you feel icky and gross? Okay, did you have previous life experiences that made you feel that way? Have you ever felt uncomfortable? What made you feel uncomfortable? What were the specific things that made you feel that way? Okay, because if you can overcome that, which reading that book is going to hugely help you in this, then you can push past that. Okay, so that is probably one of the more common, simple things. The other three that I'm going to talk about are even deeper than that. So the next one I want to talk about is your fear of rejection, because I feel like this is maybe right up there with the fear of being salesy and icky. So if you fear rejection, raise your hand. You're afraid that somebody's going to tell you no. Okay. Here's some tough love, you guys. Over 90% of people that I invite tell me no. Just let that sink in. Okay. You will hear no way more than you hear yes. Way, way, way more. And honestly, it it scared me at first, but the more no's I heard, the more I realized, oh, I didn't die. The person just told me no. They're not ready. They have X, Y, or Z as an excuse or a reason or whatever, but they're not ready. And that's okay. Because, and we'll get to this later, but it's not about you. It's about them. Like, they're not in a place to say yes. Honestly, I would so much rather have somebody say no to me than to not say anything at all. Ghosting is the worst ever, because then you get all in your head and you make up these imaginary stories about why they didn't respond. They think you're annoying. They are so upset that you even asked. Like, you literally create made up stories when people ghost you. Am I right? Yes. I do it too. That's why I know I'm right. But I promise you, you guys, and I'm going to give you some, Candace is going to also help tonight, so it's not just me blabbing away. But we're going to give you ideas on how to get over these things, because hearing no is a good thing. I love it when people do, because then I graciously thank them for saying no. I'd be like, girl, thank you for being honest with me. Thank you for getting back to me. You have no idea how many people don't respond. So I really appreciate you telling me no. And I totally respect that you have blah, 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 blah as a reason why you can't join right now. And I hope you have an awesome weekend. And then they go on my follow-up list and I reach out a couple months later. Okay. Be overabundantly grateful, and people will be like, well, you're welcome. I didn't expect that response from you. You're welcome. You know, they're expecting you to come back with like, well, this is why that's not a good enough excuse, blah, blah, blah. Like, just be gracious when people say no. And they are so much more likely to say yes down the road. And they will bring it up and be like, thanks for like allowing me to say no 3 months ago, because I really wasn't ready, but I'm totally ready now. Okay. So I go for no. That's a phrase that you might hear if you listen to other Beachbody trainings on like the Champions page or something, but like, we go for no. You invite so many people and you're going to hear a lot of no's, but you're going to hear a couple yeses, but you wouldn't hear those yeses if you didn't reach out and invite. Third reason, let me make sure one last thing with fear of rejection. If you in your head are sitting there scared that somebody's going to say no, you are basically telling your subconscious and your brain, and you're imagining what you think is going to happen, and it will happen. So if you're just constantly thinking about, everyone's going to say no, I'm just so scared, everyone's going to reject me, this is so scary, like, you will manifest that. But if you approach, when you sit down to invite, if you approach it as something positive, like, I am going to help someone today. Somebody is going to be ready, and I can't wait to find out who it is. That is going to completely change your posture and your conversations and the way that you show up. Could you imagine the difference between those two when you sit down? Like, I'm going to help someone today. Let's figure out who it is. Okay, that's a lot more positive, and it's going to come across when you're messaging. Okay, third one. You actually fear success. You're afraid that somebody's going to say yes, and then you're going to be like, oh crap, now what? Anybody in this boat? Like, you invite someone to be a coach on your team, and they're like, yes. Are you going to mentor me? And you're like, ooh, yes, I am, but I don't know what that looks like. Messaging my upline right now. What do I do? You guys, this is so common, but you just got to fail forward. You just got to be like, okay, I'm so excited you want to do this. I just signed up myself, and I don't know how to send links, so I'm gonna figure that out, but I'll get right back to you. And then they're gonna see that you don't know what all the answers, and they'll be like, huh, maybe I could do what she's doing. If she doesn't need to know all the answers and she's running a business, maybe I could do this too. You don't need to be like all your ducks in a row and perfect in order to be successful. So just go, do, and you don't need to know all the answers because you have this entire team to lean on. If you do have a question, you just throw it on the team page and we'll all help you. Okay, and the last one is a biggie, and it could possibly sting, but it's the truth. And I have fallen into all 4 of these categories at some point before I kick my own butt into gear. So why are we afraid to invite? Because we make it about us when it has nothing to do with us. So let's just sit in this for a second, because if you're sitting there and you're like, I really want to invite Sally Sue to my accountability group. I have this nudge. I feel like it would be really good for her. But you're like, I'm afraid of what she's going to say. I think she's going to say no. She's going to laugh at me. She's going to think this is dumb. She's going to think I'm salesy. Like all these things, like me. This isn't about you. This is about her. This is about her needing a lifeline. And she may not be ready to take it, but she needs to know that it's there. And Sally Sue won't know it's there because she's just scrolling through her social media and she may not see your content. Maybe she's like to post here or there. Maybe she has been following you like crazy, but she's too scared to reach out, because that's a really vulnerable place, you guys. Some of you reached out to your coach to join this community. Some of you got invited. Those of you that reached out, kudos to you for being extremely brave and vulnerable, for stepping out of your comfort zone and reaching out to a girl and saying, I need help, because that is a very, very vulnerable place to be. But what if you had somebody reaching out a hand and saying, we can do this together? That's what an invite is. It is literally offering someone a gift. But if you don't sit yourself in that frame of mind, you can get all in your head and make it about you instead of about helping Sally Sue. Anyone willing to admit that you make it about you? Because I have. We get all in our head, crazy, weirded out, scared, fearful, prideful, whatever you want to talk, however you want to say it, when really this isn't about us. This is about changing somebody else's life and being a leader. A leader is simply someone who's brave enough to go first. And you are brave enough to send that first message instead of waiting for them to message you. Does that make sense? So I'm going to switch gears for a second and have Candace talk and give some tangible examples of how she invites, because I do it the same way. But like I said, I don't need to be blabbing the whole time. And then I'm going to end the call with an activity. So I'm going to hand it over to Candace. We can't hear you, Candace. You may have to log in from your phone.
Can you hear this?
Oh, you gotta mute your other one.
Oh, geez. Okay, good. So I'm going to talk about the process of inviting so that maybe it doesn't seem so scary and like laid out in steps. And so personally, I think inviting is your biggest, most effective, most vital behavior in building a business. But I do think there are some things that have to come first in order to feel like you have people to invite to things. So I wrote down some notes. So if you see me looking, that's what I'm looking at. But to start with is you're going to need to be posting and showing up on your stories. And so this is the process that works for me. So of course, take what works for you and tailor it that way. But I probably post on my social media probably 6 times a week. I think I usually take off Saturdays now, typically. And then I show up in my stories pretty much every day. And I know Andrea said this before, but in my stories for sure,
Is she frozen for you guys?
for business. And so
Hold on, Candace.
shoot,
You froze for a second there. So the last thing we heard was for sure in your stories.
oh, okay. So in my stories, I show up pretty much daily. And I know Andrea and I laugh about this, but I always, like Andrea says, make sure to open up my shop, make sure people know I'm open for business. So I usually say something to the effect of, do you know what day it is? It's the
So I'll fill in for this sentence right here. she always opens up her business.
can go back to those posts and I will click on the post and who has liked the post. And then I'll just send them a message. And I like to keep them super short and sweet. If you're wordier, that's great. Usually right now mine says something like, "Hey girl, thanks for the like and support. You know, I totally appreciate it. Have you ever thought about joining my groups?" And then I'll send that to anyone who has liked my post. Then I'll also go to or whatnot. I will click on the button in the corner to watch my story and then see who has viewed the story. And then I'll just send them a message. Literally, I might say, "Hey, thanks for watching. Have you ever thought about joining my group?" Or, "Hey girl, want to join my boot camp?" And when I say boot camp or group or whatever, I'm always just referring to my lifers group that I have open and ongoing all the time. So I don't need to have like a brand new boot camp going. I'm just calling it a boot camp, I guess, because they don't know that. And so posting and showing up on my stories is something I always make sure I'm doing. And with the posts, I like to make sure that at least a couple times a week, and usually I'm probably doing 4 of my 6 posts have after I've told a story or had some type of content, my last line might say something like, "Drop me a heart if you," or I'll send you more details or something like that, where I invite them to join me, or it's a call to action, right? And so then on those posts, those are the ones I'll go back and invite those people. Does that make sense? Does anyone have questions? I don't know if I can find the chat on here. Questions? No? Okay. And then when I do invites, one thing I've heard, and I always try to remind myself, is that we don't need to decide who needs the invite. We are just supposed to give the invite. Like you don't get to make up a story in your head of why Sally Sue, like Andrea says, why she would be annoyed if I messaged her. She's super fit anyway. She's got it all together. She probably doesn't need this. No, I don't need to message her. You don't get to decide that for her because you don't actually know what's going on in Sally Sue's life behind closed doors. Our job is, this has changed our life. And so we're just going to give every
It's so suspenseful when she gets frozen, isn't it? Like, whoa.
And so sometimes I have to remind myself that, because I'm sure we all have people. I have people where I'll get to them on the list. And usually for me, it's people I know in real life. And I'm like, oh, I make up a lot of reasons why I can't invite that person, or they wouldn't want to be invited, blah, blah, blah. Then I have to stop and think, no, I'm going to send the invite, because I don't get to decide if she needs the invite or not. I'm going to send the invite. The other thing with my invites is it's something that easily you can put off, because you're like, I'll just important it is. And I've invited I think I've recently seen that I've invited someone who's ghosted me 7 times in the last year, but she's still liking my stuff and watching all my stories. And she hasn't told me to stop, and she hasn't unfollowed me. So I just keep inviting because there's times actually where I have noticed, I think Alexa's on here, her and I've had this happen to us, where I had invited someone a few months ago, and then I didn't anymore. And then
And then Alexa invited them and they signed up with her because she was ready at that point, and Candace wasn't inviting at that point.
And so you want to be the one there when they are ready, if that makes sense. I think I saw something pop up in the chat. Do you find that the same people are watching, liking, showing support? Oh, yeah. So I definitely have a handful of people that are the same that keep liking and things like that. But one thing that I do with the inviting is trying to add to my following. And so I've tried a variety of ways, but what's working right now for me is to actually manually go into Instagram.
I'm going to have her repeat this.
Too.
Hold on, Candace. You got muted again. So you manually go into Instagram and do what?
Mm-hmm. And then when I get to a picture that catches my eye, or like say a mom with young kids, like obviously that would be something I would relate to. So whatever that is for you, then I click on that and see who has liked that post. And then I will go follow those people that also catch my eye, that are following and liking her posts. Because those people then are people that engage on Instagram, and, you know, you're trying to find your tribe. And so I also make sure to spend time commenting and engaging on posts rather than just liking posts. If I think of something in my head like, oh, that's a cute outfit, or, oh my gosh, where'd you get the headband for your daughter? That's adorable. I try to write those things out. As weird as an introvert feels that is, I try to write that out because that adds more people to your, I don't know, pool or following or tribe. And whether those people join you or not, you're building relationships, I guess. And so, you know, some of those people haven't joined me, but they're people I interact with on social media now because we relate to each other, you know, through being moms or teachers or whatever it is, not just health and fitness. If that makes sense. Yeah, right. We're not just selling products. Yep, exactly. We're trying to build relationships. And then the selling part comes with it, I guess. I don't really ever feel salesy because I only invite people that interact with me. Does that make sense? So if they're not interacting or they're not watching my stories, they're not liking anything that I'm posting, then I don't know who they are, so I'm not inviting them. I figure if you're interacting with me, then you must be interested in some way, shape, or form. And then also with the follow-ups, just remember that you're running a business, so it's not annoying to follow up with somebody. It's professional to follow up with somebody. And usually those follow-ups are super key and are like, people are like, yeah, I am ready now. Or they're not yet, but still they're impressed that you followed up and remember to think of them. Yeah, I think that's all my notes, Andrea. Anybody else with questions or?
I have a question. So when you're messaging people, like I do the same, like from people that watch my stories or from my posts, you know, like do the little arrow and then send a message or whatever. So are you tracking like the names of every person that you're inviting, whether it's an invite or like a message, just so that you're not, because like these people that, you know, are constantly watching your stories, like I've had it before where I message someone and they're like, nope, I'm just watching. I'm actually already with the Beachbody coach. Like I obviously am not going to want to message them again. So are you like tracking that so you're not wasting your time duplicating messages, if that makes sense? Like, cause that's what I'm trying to do, but I like to just hear kind of how other people like track or make sure that they're like, okay, this person did this, so I need to follow up, or if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I, at one point, was trying to track every message I was sending. And then I'm like, this is just like pages and pages on a Google Doc or in a notebook. And so I only track people that write me back. I think I use the same doc that Andrea has, but basically I'll keep people that are interested on, and then I'll have just random list of no's. And then to kind of try to avoid duplicating messages to people that have already said like, hey, I already have a coach or whatever. I try to, I will sometimes when I'm sending them messages for my stories, like click on them and scroll up and see if I have messaged them before, so that if they have really said like, no, don't message me, which doesn't happen very often, or that they're already with the coach, that I don't duplicate it. I guess I don't worry too much about it, because I figure if they're still interacting that much, that you just be like, oops, sorry. I don't know. Yeah. Does that answer your question? But I do track people that write you back.
No, that's helpful. I think it's just nice
Yeah.
to hear how different people kind of do it, because it's obviously the easiest way to invite, like just by going from stories or posts. But I feel like every now and then I'm like, maybe there's an easier way I could do this, or to like in my mind figure out like who I should go back to. So that's helpful. Thank you.
If someone has an easier way, I'd take it, but that's the only way I've found. So it does take an extra couple seconds to scroll back to see what you've said to them, but I haven't found a better way around it.
I've done that too. And like you said, it doesn't take very long. I think more so just in my mind, trying to almost make sure I'm like on the right track. If that helps.
Yeah, Brianna's saying that she also asked them what their goals are. Like when they write you back, I like that too. I usually say, great, I'd love to send you more information. Can you tell me what your current health and fitness is like, and, maybe what goals you have? And then I can send you, the most relevant information for you. So I like that tip, Brianna. Cool. Anything else?
Emily, that link that you posted, I think would be awesome to post on the team page so that everybody can see that. I love Simon. He's amazing.
Yeah, we just watched it in our grad class yesterday, and I just made a note in the chat, but everything just always seems to be coming back to the coaching in this business. And Jen, you can probably relate to like Dave Weber when he came and talked to us for our staff workshop week. And I'm writing it right now, but he wrote 2 books, and the one he shared with us was Leadership Redefined, and it was like the 12, there it is, yeah! Like the 12 X's of, I can't remember what, but got the book, super excited to read it, but it's all, I can't even remember what all's in it, but yeah, 12 X's of success for today's leader. I don't know, maybe an idea for a book to read for one of an upcoming group or something, but so Simon Sinek, the How Great Leaders Inspire Action. So he has 3 circles. So it's your why, your how you're going to do it, and what your goal is. And he gave examples for businesses. A lot of times they work from the outside in. So they know what they want to do. So I think he used Apple as an example. They make great computers. How they do that is it's easy to use, easy to function. They're really pretty, yada, yada. And then their why, that was their last point. And basically, the best way to get people to want your product or to follow you and want to be with you is working the other way. So showing your why. So we talk a lot about posting every day, inviting, being a product of Beachbody and everything like that, and having that excitement. And then how are you doing it? And then your what. And so I just thought that kind of related to what we're doing. Just those vital things. Sorry. There we go. Shared them. Yeah, I'll post it on the group tonight.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay, so I also asked Candace to just type up a couple of her invites, and then in the comments below, on the team page, she's going to post them over there so that you can literally just see them and read them and be like, okay, would that be something that I would say? And please like vet that through your brain and be like, would this actually be something I would say in real life? Because people can smell a copy paste a mile away. So if you would never say, hey girl, in real life, please don't say, hey girl, in a message. Like, you have to be genuine. I call my daughter girl all the time. I'm like, hey girl, go get blah, blah, blah. Like, I would say that in real life. So be genuine. But she's going to give some examples, and I can write some of mine in the comments below that. If you guys have invite examples that you've used, please put them in there. I can put some of my follow-up messages that I send to people, because it's good to just have examples and maybe think of it in a different way. So here's my challenge for you tonight, is to find your most recent post that was about anything related to health and fitness or coaching, and get a list of people who liked it or commented on it, and you're going to reach out to them and invite them, because doing the ripping of the Band-Aid off is the only way for you to get more brave. So you're like, oh my gosh, I'm freaking out. I'm already sweating. Like, oh, this is so scary. But you guys, don't like word vomit all over these people. Just be like, hey, thank you so much for liking my post last week that I made about blah, 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 whatever it was about. I really appreciate it. It's hard to put myself out there, and having your support means the world to me. I do just have to ask you, have you ever thought about joining one of my groups? If not, that's totally fine. I just wanted to say thanks for liking my post. Send. You can copy paste that, because you're going to write it genuinely the first time. You can write that, copy paste it to everyone who liked your post. Even if it was only 3 people who liked your post, invite those 3 people. Okay? And like Sophie said, send the invite, throw your phone across the room, and walk away. Don't actually throw it, like gently set it down. Seriously, you guys, do the scary thing, because then you'll realize you won't die. It's okay if everyone tells you no, because then you can graciously respond back to them, like I talked about at the beginning of this video, and be like, thank you so much for getting back to me. You have no idea how many people don't get back to me, and so I just really, really appreciate it. Hope you had a great weekend. End of story. Nobody died. Everyone's still smiling, and the world went on. Okay? But you have to get over that fear in order to realize that it is the best thing for your business, and it's also the only way that you're going to help as many people as you want to help. Because I know that everyone on this call wants to help people feel amazing, right? But we have to get out of our own heads if we're going to do that. The way that I like doing invites is I do them in bursts. I don't invite 7 days a week. I will invite like 50 people in one afternoon. Like, I muster up all my courage. I get some T-Swift jamming, and I do a little boogie in my living room, chug some Energize, and I'm like, I'm going to invite 50 people today, and I get it done. So you get to be the boss of your business. You get to decide if you're going to invite 3 people every single day, if you're going to invite 1 person every single day, if you're going to invite 25 people every single day. It is completely up to you. Nobody is saying, Brianna, you need to invite 11 people on Tuesday, 15 people on Wednesday. Like, nobody's doing that, you guys. Nobody is thinking, why isn't Angela inviting more people? We're not. You guys get to do whatever is in your heart to do. You get to set your own benchmarks. You get to reach for whatever level you want. But just know that the more people you invite, the more successful your business is going to be. I just want to touch one more thing that actually was brought up earlier, was that building relationships is so incredibly important. I just finally got the courage to message a girl and invite her to be a coach on our team. I have been so scared to reach out to her. She is like the biggest bright light on my social media. She actually used to also be a math teacher. Like, we have so much in common that it just scared the bejesus out of me. But I did it, and she was interested in hearing more. And I like freaked out, and I was so excited and had to like calm myself down and be like, don't word vomit all over this poor girl. And the point is, after we were talking at the very end, she said, let me just read it to you because it was super, super impactful and reminded me of what I need to do. So I sent her a bunch of just really short voice memos in Instagram. And she said, "This is so interesting. Thank you for telling me more. And I also must say, I appreciate that you and I had built a little bit of a relationship before you asked me this. I have a lot of people that ask me similar things, and they always seem fake or something. But since you and I have talked several times, I know where your heart is at. So tell me big picture." And then she asked me some specifics about like coaching income and like really wanted to dive into the business behind the scenes stuff. But like she said, because she's so amazing, she has had other people just cold message her and be like, you should be a blah, blah, blah rep. You should sell blah, blah, blah. But just connecting with people and being like, hey, we have this in common. How cool is that? You know, just talk to people, make connections, and they may not sign up with you, but they may send their friends to you. I have had that happen where I just am Instagram friends with somebody and they're like, I have a friend who reached out to me and asked if I knew anybody who hosted groups, and I told her that she should totally sign up with you. Like, you just need to put yourself out there and make those human connections with people. So let me read the chat quick. Okay, people are trying to figure out how to branch out and find people that are in your tribe. So they're talking about finding other groups, for instance, egg teachers, if you're an egg teacher. And you can find them in Facebook groups. You can find them through hashtags on Instagram. It's really just about the connections, but I also feel like, I don't have it in front of me, but following the Power Hour, the networking Power Hour that we posted on the team page like a month ago is huge because it's very pointed in building that network of people. And she lays out step by step, and you have to do it in order. Because once you post on Instagram and you post on your stories and then you start doing the following of people like Candace was talking about, you are commenting, you are liking, that all makes Instagram's algorithm really, really happy, and your stuff gets pushed out to more places if you're doing those things in that order where you post and then you're on Instagram for an hour networking and following more people and doing all of those things. So having like a set business time to sit down and do that is really, really key. I followed that for a week and I gained 100 new followers just from following it, just straight up, line for line. I have a hard time knowing when it's right to transition from getting to know each other to inviting to my group. It's totally different for every single conversation that I've had. Usually the conversations are just happening over genuine things that I would bring up. Like Candace was saying, if you're thinking in your head, that is a really cute shirt, actually take the time to type out, that is a really cute shirt. Where did you get it? But I am inviting, exactly like she was saying, if anyone is interacting in any way with my social media by watching, liking, or commenting, they get an invite. Even if they've gotten 10 invites earlier and they've ghosted me, I still invite. I don't even think about it. I don't personally go back in conversations. Like if I click on who's watching my story and it just lets you directly message right from there. Like, unless I have a thought like, I think this person told me absolutely never message me again, I will never join your group. Which I've had like 2 people say that to me. And I'm like, why do you still follow me? But they do. then I'll be like, I think this is the girl. And then I'll click on it and look at our previous messages and like, oh yes, not inviting you today because I don't really feel like having negativity. But I will literally invite someone 25, 50 times. If they keep following me and not responding, they're interested, but they're just too scared to say it. If someone has ghosted you or has said no and you're following up, do you change your wording or ask in a different way? Do you reference the other messages you sent? Sometimes. So every time I send invites and I do my little burst, I always change up my wording a little bit, but you can't really say it more creatively all the time. Sometimes I'm like, hey, I see you creeping on my stories. Have you ever thought about joining one of my groups? Send to like 50 people. Okay. Or the next time I'll be like, hey, my next group just opened up. I'm super excited about it. Have you ever thought about joining? Send. If I'm doing follow-ups and that means that these people have said something back to me at some point, they're on my follow-up list. I will be like, hey, I just sent this out actually last week to a whole bunch of people that I was following up with. Hey, I know it's been a super long time since we've talked, but I'm wondering if now is a better time for you to be thinking about joining one of my groups. Do you still think about it? Send to 25 people. Don't overthink it. Not this summit, but the summit before, I was at a training and a girl raised her hand and just said, so what do your invites look like? She literally said, do you want to join my boot camp? That's what she sends out. Do you want to join me? Do you want to join my boot camp? Because she's constantly talking about her boot camp. And if they're watching her stories, they know she has a boot camp that they can join. So she doesn't need to go into this long story of like explaining like why it's a good idea and a good fit. Like, no. Do you want to join? Do you want to do this with me? Like, just ask. You know, if you're not someone who's going to sit there and small talk, don't small talk. Just ask, because it gets so much easier the more you do it. These questions are amazing. Any other questions that I missed in the chat? You can retype them if I didn't answer your questions. Candace just said that's the video that she watched and why she says every morning that she is open for business. Every morning, Candace, if you watch Candace's story, she's like, you know what today is? Today is a great day to join my group because blah, blah, blah. And then she makes something up. She's like, because it's Sunday. And Sundays are a great time to just have a fresh start. And then you can get your package by Friday and we can just get you rolling. And like, she will literally make something up about either the day of the week or the sun is shining or, I mean, literally anything. She starts every morning when she's mixing her Energize. It's awesome. She just lets people know, like, you can do this with me. And she says it without being ashamed of anything, which is why she's at the top of the leaderboard every month. I'm going to beat you one of these months, Candace. I'm going to. It's my goal. Just be silly. Be yourself. Be awkward. Just do the awkward mom dance in your kitchen. It's fine. People like realness. And always let people know that you can help them. Always. All right, so this team call got really long, but I think it was important, which is why I didn't want to just go live on the team page on this. I think it's a really, really important one to talk about. And I think it's something that when you have people on your teams that want to really jump after this and build a business, you can share this video with them because it's all here. And you don't have to teach this. You can take this tool and say, here, you want to do this with me? Let's challenge ourselves. Let's invite 50 people today. Let's invite 20 people today. Whatever your number is, you guys. It could be, let's just send our first invite. and then throw our phones in the closet and run away for 10 minutes and like do some like deep breathing or something. But I promise you guys, being brave can literally change someone's entire life. Stop getting in your own way of other people getting the help that they need. Stop making it about you, because it's not about you. It's about them. And you can't trap somebody else's, what's the phrase? Don't keep somebody else's destiny in your mouth, trapped in your mouth, but it's really like in your thumbs because you're typing it. It's legit, you guys. We can change people's lives. So let's not hold back, because it's literally like 5 words. Do you want to join me? 6 words. Do you want to join me? Okay. So Candace is going to type up some words on the team page. Maybe she already did. I don't know. I haven't looked. But on that post, let's just keep it all on the same post. Yeah, I got mad math skills, Brianna. Mad math skills. On that post, let's comment how many invites you send tonight, just to cheer each other on. Okay? So Candace is going to put it up there. I'll put some of my sample scripts up there as well, just so you have something to pull from. But find a post and just say thanks if you want to use that one. Thanks for liking my post last Wednesday. It was really hard to put that out there, and I appreciate it. And I just have to ask you if you've ever thought about joining one of the groups that I talk about, because it's changed my life, and I think it would be amazing if you joined me. Send. And then scream and run in the other room. I don't know. Do whatever you need to do. Chug some Energize first, whatever. But just do it, because you could change somebody's life. It's a big deal. All right, you guys, thank you so much. And we will see you on the team page.